How you on?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hell I Don't Know. I am Nickie, and I'm here with Jordan, Darrell, and our lovely guest, Miss Kaisha Huguley. Kaisha Creates. As we told you guys earlier, we are diving deep into Women's History Month and just appreciating women, and we will be having different women on the podcast every single week to kind of tell us what they want us to talk about. This is a woman's world, and I'm going to throw it to Kaisha for her to introduce herself, and then lead us in our conversation for this week's episode. To you, Kaisha.
Listen, hello everyone, and thank you so much for having me. I'm Kaisha Huguley at Kaisha Creates. Follow me on all platforms. I am so excited to be on y'all's podcast today, and today we're going to be talking about friendship because I think that friendship and community is something that a lot of people need and a lot of the people are feeling a void for. And so I specifically want to talk about like friendship breakups and how those things kind of unfold and go down because baby, nothing hurts worse than a friendship breakup. You hear me? Like maybe a romantic breakup, that probably would be devastating. But like a friendship one, they still be hurting just as bad. I'm not gonna hold you. So yeah.
We're excited to hear that. Come on, Kaisha. By the way, we're all friends, so this should be an easy
Yes.
conversation.
In real life.
In real life.
In real life. Let me tell y'all something right now. If y'all think y'all gonna break up with me as a friend, you got another thing coming. Like you are stuck with me. There is no friendship breakup when it comes to this group. Okay, are we clear? Great.
Very clear.
Very clear.
Like you and your marriage cannot, y'all can't get a divorce. I've told you this before.
Maybe
Listen, there are so many people that tell me and Q that we are locked in, so I guess we got to stay together. So
You're locked in for all three of us.
Very much are. Very much are.
I'm screaming.
And I hope you know.
Well, I do know. And
Beautiful.
it just so happens that I really love my husband, so I'll stay in it. So,
Great.
Shout out to Q.
Listen, shout out to Quentin Huguley, Dr. Huguley loading in May of 2025, which I'm so excited about because I'm looking forward to being a kept woman. I have no intention of being back in the workforce. And so I'm just very much looking forward to living a housewife life. And you heard it here first. I'm not even kidding. Like I'm dead serious. So
I can already tell.
We fully believe you.
Because I don't want to work. But
a woman in the house.
Listen, so y'all, let's talk about friendship.
All right, take a story, Kaisha.
Okay, so friendship has always been one of those things for me that has been a challenge, right? Like I feel like my love life has been more successful than like my friendship life because I've been with Q and I guess you can say that because of, our marriage, our friendship is what keeps our marriage together. So maybe I'm not that bad at friendship. It just so happened that I'm married to my best friend. But I have been with Q for 16 years this year, I think. And we've been married for 10. I'm only 34. Jesus, help. So, with that, there was a time throughout the course of Q and I's relationship where I had friendships that were just as long as my relationship. But some of those friendships have kind of fallen off. They've changed because of life changes. So I just want to start the conversation by talking about friendship. Like, have you had an experience where you've been friends with someone for a really long time? And then something happened in either your life or your friend's life that changed the course of your friendship?
Absolutely. Who wants to take that first? I'll go first. I have been really fortunate to have some really long friendships and some that were really long and then that broke off. Oh, not some. I've only had one. And I think it's important when you're thinking about friendship breakups is thinking about how both of you evolve and grow in life. And sometimes when you're both growing, you're going to grow in separate paths. And those paths, I believe, are just not meant to cross once you enter into a new phase of life. And it's not necessarily because you are a bad person or they are a bad person. It simply could be just because you both are evolving. Or it could be that one of you are on some fuck shit and that's another reason as to why the friendship broke up. But
Well,
that's my initial take on it. What about any of the other of you?
Yeah, I've had like a very close best friend of mine for that for a very long time, and that was very hard to just for that to end. And honestly, I was like, it was harder to get over that than it was like breakups with like my like actual relationships. I think just because my friends, like if I have close friends, my friends feel like family to me. So for me, it feels like you're
right.
losing like a family member, honestly, when that happens. So it's just, it's just a rough situation to be in. So it's tough. It's the grieving process of losing a friend is much harder to me than the grieving process of like a romantic relationship. But that's just my opinion.
Okay, great. So I wasn't being dramatic because that's how I really feel, but I wasn't gonna say it. So
No,
yeah,
no,
I agree.
and that's valid. No, that's very valid. I feel like well, I'm gonna start this disclaimer off by saying that like I forgot this is what we were talking about today, and literally anybody that I talk about probably does watch this podcast. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say, y'all know, everybody on this call knows I'm an incredibly honest person. I live my life very openly, so I ain't gonna name no names, but you know who you are, and I love you in advance. So, uh,
Screaming.
so I had luckily I want to start off by saying we are friends now. We are best friends now. We are very, very close. But my best friend and I have been friends since gosh, it's been since maybe like 12, 13 years, 13, 14 years. I don't even remember.
Mm,
But we got very close very fast, but we also were two completely different people. And as
mm.
we grew in life, our interests literally calling me right now. Wow, speak.
Spoke them up.
Spoke
I
them
kid you
up.
not. I go, whoa. Anyway, so oh, that's funny. But as we grew as people, our interests and literally our personalities started to shift.
Mm,
And we started to recognize that like we were kind of changing ourselves to be friends with each other, and our
mm,
relationship got really 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 toxic. I'm not gonna lie. And also my best friend is a woman, and she was dating someone at the time, and I mean, you know how that can be when a best friend is of the opposite sex and they're dating somebody, even though we all know that's not going to be an issue with me. But like anyway, we stopped talking for like a year straight up. We just like, and it was actually on her. She just like was like, "Hey, let's just stop talking." And honestly, at that point, I had never been in a relationship that mattered to me as much as that friendship. And so that was really, really, really hard. And I thought that that was somebody that like I was gonna always be friends with. So we took that year apart, and then when we got back together as friends, we sorted some things out. We lived together for a good amount of time. It got a little toxic. It did, even after that. But now we're in a really, really, really good place. And I think it's because we both respect that the changes that we made as people, also we should never live together again, but also the changes that we made as people allowed us to grow further in our friendship because we learned who we are and adapted to that. So I'm long-winded, but love you, girl. You know who you are.
Listen, I don't want to ask too much, but I do want to know, like, why was it toxic? And when you say toxic, what do you mean by that? Like, is it just a difference of like the way that y'all were living when y'all were living together, or like were you spending too much time together or not enough? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so we got very codependent on each other. We
Mm-hmm,
very codependent. I mean, we would only really hang out with each other, and we both kind of started getting to this like lazy lifestyle where we just wouldn't really do much. We would just hang around each other, hang around the
mm-hmm,
house, not do too much. And we both started seeing our drive and ambition go down. And because of that, we both started honestly to get a bit depressed. Like we started to like
mm-hmm,
be resentful in our regular lives, and we didn't know exactly where to put that.
mm-hmm,
So living together, I think we both became physical manifestations of things that were not going well in our lives separately. And so we
mm-hmm,
started to take that out on each other.
mm-hmm,
And because I know for me, she was like, for me, I looked at her sometimes, and she knows this because I've literally told her. We've had long conversations about this. I looked at
mm-hmm,
her as somebody that was keeping me back from doing things that I wanted to do, but also she looked at me that way. Like she felt the
mm-hmm,
same way about me. And it wasn't until we one took accountability for our own lives and was like, hey, neither of us are keeping each other back. We just have developed unhealthy habits together sometimes that we need to straighten out. It wasn't until we actually had that conversation and took accountability for ourselves that we were able to really move forward.
Wow. Listen, I'm glad you were able to move forward though, because sometimes there are people you have this happen with where you can't move forward or it isn't in your best interest to move forward. So for me, I was thinking about this morning because I'm like, oh my God, I've had so many friendship breakups. And ultimately, right, like
Oh,
so many, but I'm so dramatic. Like I haven't had so many. Like literally, I think I've had two, but I have been putting outgrowing friends in the same category as friendship breakup when really we didn't break up. We just outgrew our friendship or we moved to different areas and maintaining our friendship wasn't something that became a priority. And so when I look at people who I've been like, I don't want to be your friend anymore.
Mm.
And just to be clear, I never said that exact sentence, but where that has happened, it's been about two people, three. I don't know. Something less than five. Okay. I'm a Libra. I should have said that from the start of this conversation. I'm a Libra. And if you have any Libras in your life, they will cut you off so fast. Okay.
That is true.
It's mainly because I can't take bullshit. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to. Like I'm just not, and I
understood.
don't like I cannot stand people who are not authentic. So if I see any of that kind of behavior, you really get one time with me. I don't even give three chances no more. You get one. Like
As you
it is
should.
what it is. Mess up one time, we're done. That's what I've had
No
so
second
many
chances.
friendships. None. No, because it's like there's certain things that are character flaws with people that
Hmm.
are not like you can't come back from that. Like you'll do
Hmm.
something that'll make me see you a completely different way, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's you," because a normal person who has home training wouldn't do that. So anyway, um, no, out of hand. People are probably like, "Kaisha is the problem. It's not even the other people. She's the problem. That's why she don't have no friends."
But I am curious though. I am curious, and I don't want to get too personal. But I would
No, tell
love to
me.
know. I would love to know what some of these because I'm not really good. I wouldn't say I'm good at cutting people off. Actually,
Oh.
Hmm.
contrary to my personality,
Uh
don't do too much. Don't do too
Oh, I
much.
wasn't saying. I wasn't in regards to you.
Oh, okay,
I was
okay.
saying like I can cut
Um,
somebody off in a heartbeat.
oh no, I'm not good. I'm not good at that. I'm usually just like I'll
oh.
give you
Great.
one chance, not too many. But I'm curious as to what these character flaws were that made you like so concretely say this is not the friendship for me.
Yeah. So in one example, I was friends with a woman who happens to be white, and Nickie, not too much. So
I didn't even
I
say anything.
know, but I saw your eyes.
I,
I
t- I,
I
tell,
felt
I,
it
tell, I told him it's always on his face. It's always in the face.
Listen,
very much.
I saw it in your face, so I just wanted to preface that. But she happened to be white. We met doing a contract together. And so, like during the contract, we were cool. We weren't like super close, but we were cool. We got close after the contract. And one of the things that started to become an issue was the fragility.
Mm,
And because I'm a Black woman living in America, I was having a really difficult time knowing that she could never hold space for me in the way that I needed her to.
Mm.
And I
mhm,
felt like I was always holding space for her in whatever capacity she needed, whether it was about, life and family or career, friendship. Like I felt like I was always carrying her load, but she never could carry mine.
Mm.
And I mean, we could debate all day whether there are people across difference who can truly carry the load of someone, of a friend like that's Black living in America. We could debate that all day. I want to believe that they are out there, but in this case, she really just couldn't put herself in my shoes, and like she can't because she doesn't get it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
understand you don't have my lived experience, so understood, and at least be self-aware about it. There's one thing to not be able to have the capacity to do something. And then there's another thing to not have the capacity, also not be aware that you don't have the capacity.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
It was like little things. And I'm not saying that this person was like trying to be like racist or anything like that, but it was little things that I could tell like she had been programmed a certain way to say certain things. Like, I remember wanting to speak up about something that had happened in the theater industry. And I was like, I want to say something. Like, I want to make a statement. It was something, it might have been that whole situation with Paradise Square. And
mm,
so I wanted to say something. And she goes, "You all shouldn't have to say anything." And I really wanted to be like, who the fuck is you all? Because, like, what are you even talking about? Like, what? And like, that was the first time anything like that had come up. So I'm like gagged because I'm like, she literally, like, she does not understand how offensive that was. And it's on me too because I didn't tell her. I was just so gagged because it had never happened. And I literally am sitting there like, oh my God, she really just said this thing that really makes me feel uncomfortable. And I'm not sure how to address it with her. So that's another point that I wanted to bring up is that I feel like in female relationships or in friendships, a lot of times there are a lot of things that go left unsaid. And a lot of times that things don't get addressed. And specifically between Black women, but in female relationships, period, I feel like, and I'll take accountability on my end for this. I feel like a lot of times for women, for myself, my energy is so caught up in my career. It's so caught up in my marriage. It's so caught up in the things that are at the highest priority that sometimes when it comes to friendship, it's like I want to prioritize this friendship, but I'm not going to cause any uncomfortability because that's going to take more energy that I don't have. I don't have time to bring this thing up. I would rather just let it go and move on. But really, when you let it go, you ain't really letting it go. You just let it build into something. And then that's what causes the friendship breakup. Like, I'm not going to hold you and I'm not going to say no names, but there are a couple of friends that I've been friends with since high school. We need to have conversations. We're grown now. Like, we've been friends since we were 14, 15 years old, and we have not been really doing what I would call friendship maintenance. We can't interact with each other in the same ways that we interacted with each other when we were in high school. First of all, when we were in high school, and I'll often think about this, since it's a little bit of a mindfuck that, you know, we were all in high school together. A lot of this friend group ended up in relationships with each other. A couple of them are married. It could have been any combo of us that ended up in a relationship because we were in high school and we were all like, oh my God, I want to date and I'm going to find my husband and da, 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 like all of that shit. So like, it could have been any of us that ended up paired up. And I think that that is what ultimately creates some of the tension in our friendships because we remember that we all might have had crushes on each other. And it's like a vortex. It's like, oh my God, like, and not actively, like everybody is siloed. Well, listen, everyone is siloed in their, listen, I didn't say nothing. Everybody's in their own relationships, but it's hard when you start, when you in high school and you in this friend group and you secretly have always liked, give me a random guy's name, James. I'm screaming. But okay, Nickie, we'll use Nickie. Secretly, you have loved Nickie this whole time, but you ain't never say nothing. And y'all supposed to be able to like celebrate whoever's baby shower. Like you can't move past, like it's hard to move past that if it's never been talked about or addressed. Like, okay, I'm switching subjects slightly, but I have to say this. I don't really have to say this because this is hella embarrassing, but I did do this and I'm kind of proud and I'm also embarrassed. Anyway, so there was this one time that it was this guy in high school that I really liked. He never told me he liked me, but he gave me vibes that he did. We would talk, you know, on socials and everything. He ended up transferring from my high school, going somewhere else, and then he came back to my high school. When he came back, I was like, this is my chance. I am going to be his girlfriend. Like, no doubt about it. Like, we're going to be homecoming king and queen. Like, we're going to live happily ever after. Like, I was going to marry this man. Spoiler alert, didn't marry him. Didn't even date him. But anyway. ended up dating his friend. That sounds crazier than it needs to sound, but anyway. And because I dated his friend, he was like, there's no chance for us to ever be a thing, which is wild because I'm like, but your friend is out here dating whoever he wants. Anyway, so once I got to college, me and Q took a break for a year when we were in college. So when on that break, I was hoeing. I was like, I'm going to be out here. I'm going to do what I want to do. Okay. So
as you should.
Listen, I was living. Why not? So I end up hitting up this gentleman from my high school. I called this man and I was like, listen, we've been playing with each other all these years. This is so fucking embarrassing. I was like, we've been playing with each other all these years. When we gonna give us a chance? I just want to know.
Sound like an R&B song.
Insanity.
You know what?
I really called called this man's cell
I,
phone number talking about, so what's up with us? And he was like, you know, this ain't never gonna happen because you dated my boy. I was like, that was in high school, bro. We're in college now.
you know what? I
Crazy thing.
appreciate that you had, the balls to even do that. You know what? You just said fuck it.
Listen,
Fuck it.
she knew
Why
exactly what
not?
she wanted and went right after
And you
it.
went for it.
Listen,
So
Look,
and
and
you know
he
what?
said
I don't see
no.
the problem.
He was like, no.
But you never know what could have happened. You never know. But again, where you are is where you're
Well,
supposed to be now. So
we glad it didn't
Exactly.
happen.
exactly.
Exactly.
Cause
Glad it didn't happen.
we love Q. Q's great.
Listen, we love
Exactly.
Q.
Exactly.
That would have been catastrophic. We would have literally been so toxic together. But I say all this to say that I was really proud that I did that. That's probably the most bold thing I've ever done. And like, it hurt really badly, like to be rejected, especially after he rejected me. He continued to communicate with me. So it was mixed signals. I was like, so you don't want to be with me, but you're going to text me every day. Help. Anyway, I literally no, because can we be more unclear? And I took it. I'm not gonna hold you. I took it as pity. I was like, oh my god, he feels so bad for me. He just feels like I have to communicate with her because she might literally jump. Like I don't know. Like and I was like, oh my god, please stop talking to me because now I feel like the biggest loser. Like I literally do. So anyway. I know I have derailed this conversation in an insane direction, but I say all this to say that I'm so
Oh
glad
gosh.
that I said that to that man because there are a lot of things that, like when it comes to friendship, I have let go unsaid and I
Mhm.
have not expressed to my friend, and then the friendship like fails off. At least, like, my biggest thing is at least I know that, like, that was not supposed to be the path I took in a relationship. In friendships, there may be things that I don't know because they haven't been said.
I mean,
That.
go ahead, Darrell.
Go ahead, Nikki. Oh. Well, that's actually really interesting because Nikki and I were actually kind of talking about something on that like vein today earlier, and I told him I was like, I don't like. I'm the type of person that like if I'm going to be friends with somebody, I am
Mm,
to a fault honest with them. Like I don't hold nothing back. I don't
mm.
even when I know I've said it in the wrong way, I will apologize if I'm disrespectful to everyone but Nikki. I
I'm
And
screaming.
y'all think it's me. It's not. It's
No, but
him.
I had like, and Nikki and I were talking. I was like, there have been times where like Nikki and I have actually gotten to like, we haven't gotten to any really big arguments, but we've definitely gotten to some heated disagreements before.
Hmm.
And
Mm,
I just feel like if you are true, and this is just my opinion, so like, I'm not
mm,
saying that anyone that doesn't do this is not really friends with somebody, but I just feel like in a world where we have to put on so much armor to be a version of ourselves in different places, if I call you a friend, if I really
mm,
consider you a friend, I'm considering you a safe space for me to
Hmm.
be as honest as I need to. And there is nothing about any of you that you don't know that I think already. It's like there's nothing
right.
that like there's no need for me to keep anything back. There's no need for me like I feel almost too honest with my friends sometimes, and
Mm,
I feel like true friendships require that level of honesty. If I'm being frank, like if you can't,
yeah.
if you feel like you can't, if you feel like it's a human emotion to feel like you can't always say everything you're thinking. That's normal. But with a
Mm,
friend, if you feel like you saying what you're thinking would fracture that friendship or it would strain the friendship, I would argue that the two of you need to have a conversation about what that friendship actually is, or if it's just a close acquaintanceship, or if it's like just something that the two of you just got used to, or something
mm,
like that. Because I think that specifically as millennials, we really get that word mixed up a lot, friends. We assume somebody that we like kind of talk to every now and then, or somebody that like somebody you met one time at a party and y'all kind of Instagram like you have to build a friendship. And part
right.
of that building should be a foundation of because we're friends and I love you and I care about you. If I say something to you, it is meant in the best possible way. And if I hurt you, I'm truly apologetic. But ultimately,
Mm,
we feel open to have that communication, you know?
mm.
And I just feel like, and I'm not saying you can't be friends with somebody if you're not like that, but I feel like that's the best way to have a true and authentic friendship.
And I fully agree with you, and I would love that.
I agree.
It
Oh,
it is really I just feel like it is so hard. Like specifically with women, and not to say that women are capable of this, because women are capable of everything. I just think that there are so many things that come up in female to female relationships that ends up getting in the way. Like
Yeah.
this in general, like I'm a girl's girl. I want to see my girls winning. So if I see something, I'm going to say something. And that sometimes is the problem. And it becomes, oh, well, Kaisha's jealous of me, or Kaisha, like, just is giving me a hard time. Like, if I'm your friend, I'm going to push you. And
Mm-hmm.
in female to female relationships, sometimes that doesn't go well because it's like, I don't need this right now. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, no, you do. Get off your ass and get to work. Like, I feel like that kind of natural sense of competition comes into play a lot of times. And it's just like, wait, we on the same team.
Yeah.
Like, we both can win. And I find that to be extremely challenging.
Yeah.
I get that. I want to go back to something that y'all
Mhm.
talked about earlier, and I'm gonna throw. I want all of us kind of answer this. How
Mhm.
are you when it comes to being honest with your friends, even in times where you be maybe like, this might be the end of us if I say this. Like, go ahead,
Jesus.
Jordan.
I have, so that, funny enough, that's what I was kind of speak on. So I've actually gone through the experience of the reverse in the sense like I would say I love all my friends, and obviously I'm sure a lot of them listen to this. But again, we've come a long way in the sense of being able to feel comfortable to share things with one another. I realized I had a extremely sensitive group of friends in the sense of like just saying like, hey, you know, maybe just some gum or something like that kind of thing would set them off into a whole other situation. You know what I mean? So it's like, but but what I'm saying is like you should be able, if
Mm-hmm.
we're close friends, to be able to say like, hey, it's not you're not having a great day there, you know, and stuff like that, and like it's not going to ruin the friendship. You know what I mean? Like I don't want this to be over because I'm telling you like this isn't
Jordan.
fresh.
That is
Jordan.
not where I thought you were going with that.
I'm just saying. I'm just using it as an
Maybe some gum is crazy work.
Oh my
But
god.
my thing is like, you know, I'm thinking like, hey, like we're like super close, like let's, you know, but I'm using that as like a very small example. We've actually gone
Small.
through some like some serious stuff.
Like, I know, because we need this, and I don't know what I would do if one of my friends was like, maybe
Maybe some
some gum.
gum.
Oh my god.
Listen,
Oh
I
my
would cry.
I would
I would.
lose my
I mean,
nerve.
yes, obviously that's going to be like a oh man, but it's like
Oh my
I don't
god.
think we're going to not be friends anymore. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
thing is what I'm
Right.
trying to say. Like
Uh,
it's like I don't think,
ooh.
but I more so what I'm saying is like there's just a lot of instances where we weren't able to share things that I feel like friends should be able to share, and I feel like it came from a place of like I'm coming from a place of love. If I'm like sharing any kind of thing of like, hey, I see you're kind of like slacking in this area or like not, and I'm not talking about hygiene. We're moving on. I'm talking about like we're talking about like, you know, if it's like
Uh-huh.
work ethic or, you know, like maybe like you were really super into this like for me, for example, like if people just stop seeing me like do music stuff or like doing DJing, I'm sure one of my friends would be like, hey, is everything like good? You know what I mean? Like but
Right.
and not for it to come off like as like I'm saying you're being lazy or things like that. So
Mhm.
it's
Hmm.
just I think there's just like a level where we had to get to, but then I also realized there was through that experience I realized okay, some of you people might not actually be like my friends because if we are like tiptoeing around each other and we have to like tiptoe or we're like talking to other friends about each other and it's just like this like group of a mess,
Damn.
that's kind of what happens because I'll be honest with what my best friend or one of my best friends, ex best friend now, the issue that happened was it was chatter about each like things were happening behind each other's backs and then the shit came to light. You know what I mean? So it was like,
Mm.
oh, okay. So you've been talking shit about me and then, you know, and that's just what it is. But again, that wouldn't have happened if we were able to have these like honest, open communication like situations. So yeah.
Hmm.
I
I
agree with
will
that.
say I do want to touch on that really really quickly only because I feel like in groups of friends like I'm about to sound so bad for this. I do think there's a world in which people are allowed like sometimes when you're in a group of friends and you have an issue with someone in that group of friends, right? Sometimes you do talk to other people about it. Sometimes and in my brain I would think of that as being a fake person. You should say what you want to say to that person about it. But I do also understand that not everybody is good at confrontation, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they need to talk to other people. I do
Mm-hmm.
get that, and I don't think that it's a hallmark of like an unfair friendship. But what I do think is that, and I live and die by this, anything you say to somebody else about another person, you should be able to say to that person. If you talking about somebody, one of your friends, whatever, blah, 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 don't say no shit because you mad that you wouldn't tell that person, because that is shady. That is being a bad friend. But if I am frustrated with a friend and I don't quite know how to phrase it, I might talk to another friend and be like, "Hey, I'm frustrated because of this situation," without giving too much away,
Well,
obviously.
and that's the thing.
Mhm.
What you're saying is exactly what happened. So on my end of things, I was just expressing the frustration I was having. I was talking,
Mm-hmm.
and this is stuff that the thing I was expressing was something that I've actually also expressed to my friend that I was saying this thing about. But the thing was, the way my best friend took it, they took it in like a more negative sense, and then they repeated it back to my other close friend, and then it became like
Mhm.
more of an issue. And it was just like, this is not
Mhm.
where this is not the energy that it came from, but you were trying to spew this other energy, all to only be closer to my friend that I introduced you to. It was just a mess. It was just like a whole like
Whew.
situation. So, but yeah.
That's
Yeah.
messy.
No.
With me,
No, go ahead, Nicki.
I do one or two things. I'm pretty honest when it comes to my friend. I feel like all you guys can say that. I may be like, maybe you should try this instead of doing this. I'm very that, or I may be like, that's a horrible idea. Don't do that. And with that kind of communication, how do you guys accept that from your friends? And then two, do you think that's kind of like healthy or not? Because I want to be a better friend to everybody, and that's something that I want to get better at. So I'm asking that question of like my three friends here.
I mean, I personally enjoy feedback. I just have to know that it's coming.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just need to get in the frame of mind to receive. Because I think a lot of times when we are being given feedback, we're already thinking about like what we want to say back.
hmm
And so, like, if any of y'all were to come to me and be like, "Hey, Kaisha, I have something I want to share with you. Can you like handle some feedback right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, like, what's up?" Like, that at least puts me in the frame of mind.
mm,
So, like, that's something that like I personally would enjoy. But like, I don't mind when friends give me feedback because if you're not helping me grow, what are we doing? Like, I just don't
that
understand why
part.
we're wasting time. I think that the thing about giving friends feedback is that a lot of people cannot take constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do not have the capability, and like I think that that's why I'm having challenges in my friendships now, because I am holding my tongue. Because
hmm
when I have not held my tongue, it created an issue.
mm,
It was like, oh well, Kaisha always da 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 da. Kaisha just trying to be your friend. But I'm like, I sometimes too, I've had to pull myself back because I'm like, it is not my job to fix my friends.
Mm-hmm.
mm.
Like, and maybe they are comfortable living the way they are living. And so I've had to adjust my point of view because I'm like, if my friends come to me and they complain to me about something, I want to move out my parents' house. I want to move out my parents' house. I want a better paying job. I'm gonna be like, okay, how many jobs did you apply for this week?
Yeah,
Accountability.
as you should.
I'm gonna be
As you
like,
should.
okay, like what's your spending habits like? What kind of money are you saving? Do you have a retirement account? Like we're gonna have those kind of conversations. I'm I'm not gonna say everybody can't take it. I have found that some people cannot take that. They can't
hmm
take being held accountable. And I'm like, if you don't want to be held accountable, what are we doing? Because I want you to hold me accountable too.
hmm
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just have found that to be challenging.
Whew.
I do think that there's like a part of that. One, I do think that people find it difficult in general to accept feedback. I would wager that the majority of humans find it difficult to accept feedback. I honestly would,
Right.
because our egos get involved in whatever we're doing and we start to feel whatever. And that's more of an insecurity thing than anything else, because you should be open to how other people, specifically people that you trust, perception of you. But I will also say that I think I think sometimes part of that can come from, like, with me and my best friend. one of our issues was that I was giving her feedback that she wasn't asking for all the time, and not reading
Mm-hmm.
the signs that she wasn't taking it well. That was a huge issue in our friendship. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
thought we would just kidding, joking, whatever. And I would also say things sometimes. If she would say something to me, I would be like, "Well, you need to," almost in an advice way that she wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really asking for. And I thought, like,
Right.
as a friend, my inclination is just to tell you what I think. As a
Right.
person, my inclination is to tell you what I think. And I think sometimes when we get into friendships, there's no hard and fast rule for anything, but I think one that we should be thinking about is learning who an individual is and the best way to show up for them. Because
Right.
I can't like specifically with my best friend, I joke with other friends in ways that, like, I'll say my best friend is a woman, and I have a lot of male friends that I just kind of
Mm-hmm.
joke with, and we're very like, it's very shady sometimes. It's very like, you would think we don't like each other sometimes, but we're just joking and we're just talking. With her, I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that approach is not okay because she takes it personally sometimes, which is perfectly fair. That's not an
Right.
environment that she is used to. It's not an environment of her friends that she does, and so it feels personal to her. And I think that if you're going to be friends with people, if you're going to form these connections, you do have to learn how that
Mm-hmm.
friend receives information and adjust to that. And if you're not
Right.
willing to adjust to that, then you're not willing to have a friendship, in my opinion.
Right. See, here's my problem though. So let's say this is a made up example. Let's say I make these adjustments and I'm like, okay, I am adjusting to this friend, and I'm like, I'm going to be conscious of how I say things, conscious of how I give feedback. What has happened in certain scenarios is that I feel like I'm not being authentic because I'm
Mm,
holding back.
Mm,
And so
mhm.
I then start to deprioritize that friendship,
mm.
that they start to go to associates because I don't
Yeah,
give feedback to associates.
Ooh.
So I'm
that's
like,
fair.
oh, like, Nicki, your eyes just got so
Because
big.
why?
No, I really
Why?
don't. Because I'm like, I'm not going to waste my energy. And
Mhm.
I think, too, I want to say this in a way that doesn't make me sound like a horrible person, but like, I'm very ambitious
Mm-hmm.
and probably to a fault, if I'm just being honest. I'm a little bit of a workaholic. It is what it is. I enjoy being successful. So, people who do not align with ambition and not being mediocre, our friendship is probably going to fall apart at some
Mm.
point, or
Mhm.
it's going to struggle. Because I'm gonna be like, "What? You said you was gonna do that last week. You still didn't do it? Ooh, like that's triggering to me. I find that extremely triggering. I'm like, you are lazy. Like, what is going on? Our ancestors are rolling in their graves. Like, I can't take it. Like, I
Yeah.
just can't take it. Especially if you complaining about still living in your parents' house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Who is still living in their parents' house?
listen, it's not a real
I'm
example,
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm gonna
but
be quiet on this.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying we can't complain about things and do nothing about them. Or at
Mhm.
least, how about this? Don't complain to me if you're not
That.
going to do anything. Complain to somebody else who,
That.
because if you want to vent, get a therapist. I'm trying to help you. Like, I'm not going to be able to just hear the same stories over. You ain't going to believe my mom took my cup out the sink. Why are you living in her house? It's her house. Like, what are you talking about? You sound crazy. She pays the mortgage. So, and for real, it's not a real example, but I'm just saying, like, I personally
Oh
can't
gosh.
take hearing the same thing over and over again when I'm looking at the problem and it's you.
Mhm.
Like, and listen, my life is not flawless. Q calls me on shit all the time. You know that man is a walking fitness ad. So, and every summer I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm about to get in shape. I'm about to be in the best shape of my life. Like I say it every year. It's so embarrassing. And Q will be like, "Are you gonna do it this year for real? Talk to me when you're ready." And like, he already know. He know I'm lying.
Yeah.
He will call me on it so fast. He be like, "You say you want to be in shape, but like, you don't do the things that you should be doing to get in shape. You don't eat enough protein. You eat all carbs. When you work out, you don't be sweating. What's going on?" I be like, "Q, I don't want to
Not
sweat." He
you
was
don't
like,
be
"But you want to
sweating.
lose weight."
it's
Like,
it's so funny because I saw this TikTok, and it kind of slapped me in the face. It
Uh-oh.
says potential doesn't exist. What you are seeing is what you would do if you were that person.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
Ooh.
right,
Ooh, where you
right.
going?
Potential doesn't exist. What you are seeing is what you would do with that if you were that person. And I sat back and thought, oh my God,
Wow.
like, how do you calibrate that in your mind about not just your friends, but your family, like the people you love, your partners, your relationships, like having to sit with that and knowing that what you see as potential is not a real thing. You have to be
That's a fact.
okay with this person being who they are and not being better. And if they aren't better, are they still someone you want in your life?
I was gonna say
No.
that's what I had to get to. But what's funny about you saying that is like I had to get to that. That's why I think I'm at a great place with my friendships now, because I had to get to a place with that of realizing like, okay, there's some of these people are just not, this is just who they are. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want
Yeah.
I want this more for you than you want it for yourself. And I'm like, at that point, I've checked out, because I'm like, if I want this more than you and you are the one having the problem, why am I even, I don't want to keep wasting my energy on this anymore. So it's just like, but it's like, it's very true, because I feel like if it's not serving me and it's not serving you, then this just, I'm cutting the tie. There's no point anymore.
Listen, that
Whew.
just broke my brain. I don't even know what to say. I feel like literally with family, I feel like that is also rough because it's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
related to you. You are my relative. I
Yeah.
should love you. I should want to be in a healthy familial relationship with you. And the thing is, which I remind myself daily, I did not ask to be related to the people I'm related to. And so, like, I love them. I love them down. But I don't like some of them, if I'm being honest. And I just have to recognize that this is who they are and this is how they want to live and operate and move through life. And the acceptance that has to come with that, and almost like a bit of grief,
Mm-hmm.
it's really rough because it changes your relationship. Because it's like, I realize you're going to be this. You're not going to be
Mm-hmm.
what I think. And I have to either choose to love you anyway and stay in relationship with you, or move on, cut you off, or be in community with you in a different way. It's rough out here.
It's very hard, especially like dealing if you are strictly an ambitious person and you're always looking for what's next, what can I achieve more, and then you're friends with people who aren't that way. It could be almost crippling. Like it take talking to them could feel like an what's the word I'm looking for? It can feel like a job, honestly.
But
Yeah.
I will say to that point, there are instances too where sometimes where you can have like a very ambitious friend, and sometimes it's like, okay, today I don't need that pep talk. I don't need that speech today. Can we just
Right.
be? Can we just be?
Mm-hmm.
Can we just be today? I don't need
Yeah.
you to
Right.
like if I'm just venting and sharing like I had a rough day. I don't need you to tell me what I was doing wrong in the situation. I know. I'm aware. We're good. I don't need you to be like, well, in this situation, I really don't give a fuck,
No.
honestly. I just want to talk about this. And I just want you to be a
Fair.
friend and listen. Because sometimes too, I think that's the other thing too. Like friends need to know, like, this is a time for kind of going back to what you were saying before, like, is this a time for feedback or is this not a time for feedback? Let me know. Because also if you don't let me know, I'm King Petty. So I'm going to be like, oh, well, since you want to talk about that, I'm going to talk about this. And I don't want to do that because that's not going to serve
Right.
anything. So
Yeah.
let's do it the right way.
I've started to ask which Nicki do you want? And
There
I
you
feel
go.
like I've asked all y'all that before at some
You
point.
have.
Which Nicki do you want? Because there will be the Nicki that will just listen and let you vent. There's a Nicki that will give you advice. There are Nicki that will ask you questions about your logic. So
I'm gonna be honest, Nikki. You are so nice to me.
I am very
Like
nice.
you are so nice to
I'm nice
me.
to all my friends.
I don't think you're nice to Darrell.
You're not.
Wow.
He's not.
That's just not true. Nicki, I'm never going to tell the world the names that Nicki has called me when we're on the phone because it would change everything about what you feel about it. I will never do that to him.
But let's not get it twisted. You've also said some very
Absolutely.
out of pocket things to
100%.
me.
I have said the wildest things to Nicki, but I feel like it's not crazy. No one's gonna look at me and be like, "Oh, Darrell said that." Yeah, the fuck, Darrell did say that because he's crazy as shit. Y'all be looking at Nicki and thinking Nicki is just the nicest person in the world. I'm like, absolutely not, absolutely not. That's just a fallacy. If you want to be real,
I'm
Wow.
screaming.
Kaisha, am I not
I'm
nice to you?
screaming. I'm about to say you've never said anything out of pocket to me ever.
Jordan, have I said anything out of pocket to you?
No, I think you're scared to do that with me though, because I'll cut you off.
Yikes! Oh my
Keep in
God.
mind. With Darrell, like, let's make something very clear. Darrell will start the conversation with that.
Whoa, no, we're not making that clear. That's not true. Sometimes I will. Sometimes.
Exactly.
I feel like it's equal.
I started doing it because of you do it.
It's
I'm gonna
you
be
got
honest,
you guys are tit for tat. You gotta admit sometimes it's usually.
I feel like at this point it's a love language between Nicki and I. And
I'm
honestly,
about to say
and the
y'all are
reason
I've
siblings for
accepted
real
it.
at this
I
point.
feel like the reason we do that though, and I don't want to speak for Nicki, but I feel like this is true for him as well. I think I enjoy the fact that like I kid, I joke. I'm a joking ass nigga. Like I just joke. Like I be joking and I don't take things that seriously. And like I said, I recognize with different people that's not the way to go. But I realize
Right.
that Nikki's not gonna feel any way about it if we and I feel like Nikki's that way too. Nikki be wanting to say stuff that he don't always say to people, and he knows that I'm never gonna take it seriously. So like we can have that sort of back and forth. And honestly, it's never been like Nikki has never said anything to me that I feel
Mhm.
like I was like, all right, that was too far. He did call me Clarence Thomas on the podcast one time, and I ate his ass up for that. But other than that, and he called me what? No. He did actually. I'm lying. He called me something else one time. You know what I'm talking about? That conversation we had. He called me something else, and I literally called him. I was like, we had a little discussion about it, and then the next day I called him. I was like, yeah. It's right that you called me that. You need to apologize for that. I really didn't like that, and don't ever do that shit again. I ain't gonna say what he
Oh
called me, but
my God.
And you know what? I did. I called him that. Um, I did. Because in that moment, I felt that's what he was doing. And that's the thing. If you
Jesus.
can't say that to your
Help.
friend right now, I feel
yeah.
like you're being X,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't make, and y'all want to fight after that. Are y'all friends?
Exactly,
Have
because
you?
after we had that conversation, I will say, one, we're fine after that conversation.
Mhm.
But like the reality is, I told Nikki what my problem was. I didn't mince words. I wasn't trying to hide anything. I said exactly, I don't like that you called me this. Don't do that shit again. I didn't think it was funny. He said, I appreciate what you said to me. I won't do that again. And he hasn't done it again. Like that's honest friendship. That's like you should be able to. I don't ever feel like I can't be like, bro, that actually irritated me. I don't feel like that. And I don't
Yeah.
think he
Mhm.
feels that way about me. And I liken that to like, I think that that's one of those things where it's just like, I hope, and I feel like for the most part, my friendships are like that. Like, I feel like
Mhm.
people, I think I present myself in a way where people know, or at least I hope, maybe y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, that I am receptive to
Mhm.
feedback. I'm receptive to anybody's opinion of me, especially people I care about, because I'm not one of those people that's going to be like, I don't care what nobody thinks about me and da 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 da. If I care about you, I absolutely care what you think about me. I hope you think positively about me, and I hope that I've
Right.
created a space where you feel comfortable explaining that. So yeah, I love Nikki.
I'll just say now though, if you call me Clarence Thomas, it's gonna look like an episode of Baddies. We're, we're
And that's
absolutely
fair.
fighting.
And that's fair.
I mean, it was. I'm not gonna lie. That was very out of pocket. And I
That was
also
out of
don't.
pocket.
I also don't know where that came from.
Very out of pocket
I don't know where
because
it did either.
it's going on Zeus TV network immediately as soon as you call me that.
When I tell you, it's on camera. It's on camera because he did this on the podcast. I was so taken aback. I don't even think I said anything
I
else.
want
I
to
was
see
like
the clip.
looking. I was
Roll the
like,
crypt.
what? I
No,
was like,
because whatever it was, I need to see it.
I don't even know what I did.
I can't remember what you did either, but I just was like, Clarence Thomas is crazy.
Literally, there's nothing you could do that would be a bigger insult than calling me that. Like, at all.
Wow. I'm unwell. And it's making me
Oh, that's
think.
funny.
So first of all, I love that y'all have this because
Mhm.
I'm not gonna hold you. My friend's too sensitive. Like, it ain't happening. Like, I'm gonna give you a really good example. It's extreme, but I'm gonna give you an example. So, and I was younger, so we do have to frame this in the context of I was 17 years old.
Mhm.
And so was my friend. She was 16 actually. So we were young. We grew up together. She was my first friend in the first grade. Okay. Bet my best friend. All right. Um, we used to be in a dance ministry together at church. Okay.
Come on, liturgical dance.
Come on,
Let's do a little
liturgical.
liturgical dance, had that CD skipping some about it. Ain't nothing but the devil. Like, you know what I'm saying? Went through all that, okay? So I was talking to my other friend who went to the same church. And really, my best friend, the other one, she didn't go to my church. She just did dance ministry with us. So when I was talking to my other best friend that went to the church, I was like, man, it's getting rough because everyone would always like hype up me and the one girl that went to my church when we danced because we put a lot of effort and emotion. But my friend who didn't go to the church, she didn't ever have anything on her face. She was just doing the moves.
Mm.
And so I thought I was going to take it upon myself to address it. I am literally the worst. So I was like, listen, you're not really pulling your weight. um,
Did we say
so if you don't
exactly
want to
that?
do it, you just need to say that, right?
Wow.
Wow.
And words were exchanged. Mind you, this is all over text. So this is all right on these what was the phones that we used to have that didn't even have one a smartphone? Nokias.
No
Nokia.
kids.
Nokia.
Oh my gosh.
Nokias. It
Oof.
was on one of
No,
them things.
wow, dear, because we say Nokia where I'm from. Y'all say Nokias.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
I,
Nokia.
I thought it was Nokia.
Nokia. Those.
We say
I'm
Nokia.
texting. That's kind of crazy. But I'm I'm texting her on that, mind you, using the minutes to say all this, talking about yeah, you really need to like pull your weight or whatever because people are starting to notice and you bring this down.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm the problem with church.
Dang.
Anyway, so she was like, "Well, I don't really want to do it anyway." I was like, "Okay, great, even better." Like I just doubled down on whatever she said. Words were exchanged. She called me a bitch. I called her a bitch back. Okay,
At
all this
church,
not,
happened.
not at
bitch.
church.
Over text, over text. Cuss as a kid. So this was a big deal. I was like, oh, I'm gonna call her a bitch. I was so excited to say it. I was like, bitch. Like I was literally I was so fucking pissed. I have no idea. Like you bringing down the dance team. My competitive nature has always been a problem.
It's
Who am I
screaming.
competing against? The Angels? What is going on? Anyway,
I'm
so
screaming.
we had this communication, right? And literally that weekend, because this happened on like a Wednesday, Thursday, that weekend was my prom weekend. We went to different high schools, but we lived basically around the corner from each other. So we had plans to go to each other's prom send offs and everything in each other's high school graduations. My prom weekend, and I'm pretty sure I've told y'all this story, I don't know, but my prom weekend, the night before my prom, I was held at gunpoint. And literally in my house, okay? And it was the scariest experience of my life. I literally was coming home from a recital because I played trumpet in high school. And I had my trumpet in my hand. And I remember being like, damn, I left my jacket in the car. I need to go get it. So I was getting ready to go get the jacket. Somebody is on the other side of the door with a ski mask on and pulls the door out of my hand, pushes me into the house, and puts a gun to my head. So I'm standing there like, shit, I'm about to die. Like, what is going on? So my father is in the house, which I just walked in the house. I didn't really see what was going on. My aunt is walking up the steps. And my father is like, please don't kill my daughter. Another guy standing on a porch. There's a guy in the house pointing a gun at him. I'm like, what is like, this feels like a movie. So eventually, like the guy throws, like basically pushes me onto the steps and was like, you need to go get whoever just ran upstairs. And I was like, okay. So like I do what he says, but I'm feeling hella guilty for leaving like my dad on the couch or whatever. So I run upstairs and then I'm like, my aunt is with my grandparents. They're all freaking out. I'm like, I need to call the police. Like, this is what the fuck is going on? I'm like, do we have anything in the house that we could defend ourselves with? I'm like, we don't have no guns in here. I don't know. What are we supposed to do? So eventually I hear my dad yell up the stairs and he's like, they gone. What? I come downstairs. My dad is outside smoking a cigarette with my neighbor talking about they asked me, did I have any money? I said no, and they left. Baby, when I tell you, God really
Wow.
had me on that day. Because you don't hear
Dang.
stories like that. You usually don't walk away
Hmm.
from things like that. And that traumatized me for a long time.
As it should.
Um, I was scared. I was
Absolutely.
always scared to go out at night. Like I often when I'm like walking home by myself, I will call people because I'm like, I'm scared. I'm a lot better about it now living in New York, but in general, I'm super aware of my surroundings and I like pay attention to that. I share this whole story because that was very traumatizing. I had a really hard time sleeping for a long time. My prom was an actual mess because my prom was the next day and I couldn't sleep that night. My friend, who I'd had that argument with, her mother and father came over to the house that night to see about us, and she did not come with them
Mm,
because we had had that argument. And what always broke my heart about that is that had it been reversed, I would have been at the house
mm-hmm.
because the argument, no matter what, I know I was wrong. Like we were both wrong in different ways, but I would have accepted my part in it and been like, "That's my friend. I'm going over there." And we did not speak for years because I just could not get over the fact that she couldn't put that aside. My I almost died. Like I literally was almost killed and you could not put that to the side to actually like come be a friend. Our friendship must have ended before I actually knew it ended.
Wow.
There must have been something really brewing with you that had nothing to do with that argument and everything to do with something that happened over the course of the what 17, 18 years at that point that we had been friends. So I think that because that happened in my teenage years, I ultimately always felt like if I am too honest, people won't be able to handle it. And
Mm,
listen, I'm not gonna hold you. I do try. If I think something, I'll be like, yo, like, hey, have you thought about this? Or like, I be trying to come at it in different ways. I be trying to tone my voice down a little bit because I'm like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm always trying to come from a place of love. And I would hope that if someone sees me doing something wild and out of pocket, they're like, hey, you should come on now. Like, I hope that I get the same thing in return. But that always just stuck out to me, like in my formative years, that like I was honest with somebody about how I felt about how they were showing up in a space. Because ultimately, like she would be at practice, but she'd be on her phone. She would be kind of be checked out. And then it didn't help that she dated my high school crush.
Kaisha.
Girl, get over it.
Not you.
I will never be over it. I will never be over it.
Your high school crush?
Okay, let me put it this way. Wasn't high school.
Kaisha.
It was like elementary and middle school.
That's even
I was
worse.
supposed to. His name is Anthony, and if he listened to this, oh well. Anthony,
Ka-
you know, after everything we've been through, Anthony, you knew we were supposed to be together.
Kaisha, you've been married, but you've been cute for 16 years.
I know. I'm still mad about it though, because it's the principle of the thing. Like, you have no idea. Anthony's grandparents live next to my grandparents. So Anthony will always be over there whenever his grandparents watched him, right? So we would like play on the playground and stuff, and we would like, do things like whenever he was over the house. Like I thought we had a connection. So they had our grandparents both had notorious 4th of July cookouts, okay? So every 4th of July, because I knew Anthony was gonna be over there, I was like, listen, I'm gonna get my outfit together, okay? So I was feeling myself this 4th of July, baby. I had on a white skirt, okay? I had on a little denim sleeveless top. I was like, what? America the Beautiful. Like, there's no way he's not going to be able to notice me because I am the most patriotic out here on today. So, I had a little red ribbon in my hair. I said, what? These hoes can never. So, he starts walking up to the porch, right? Like, and I'm standing on the porch by myself. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to get my first kiss. Like, I cannot believe this is happening. Like, wow. Um, and after all these years that Anthony and I have been like, in this tug of war of love, like he's finally gonna admit that like he's obsessed with me and he loves me, like crazy. So he's walking slow. I was like, oh my God, movie. All we need is music. Like that's the only thing that's missing. So he's walking up to the porch and he's like doing this whole thing with his hands, right? I was like, oh my God, like I've seen this. So he goes, so what's good with your friend?
Oh no! Oh no!
And this is where my villain era began.
Wow!
Because are you fucking kidding me?
Oh no!
Are you kidding? Now I say all this because it is important to the context of that last story. So because I was a child, literally at the time, I was like, "Oh, she's in the backyard." He was like, "Would you mind getting her?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I get her. He's like, "Yo, can I get your number?" To my friend. And she's like, "Oh my," like, and I never, in fairness, never told her that I thought that Anthony was my long life love. Like, you know what I'm saying? So she didn't know. So they start talking. Mind you, she starts sneaking out the house to go see this man. Okay? Mind you, we like 8th, 9th grade. Like, we ain't old. Like, 13, 14 years old. So, I'm about to call the house. I was like, oh, I said names. Damn.
I can bleep it. I'll bleep it.
Okay, bleep that. I'll re-say it. I was like, her mother called the house. Was like, "Do you know where she is?" And I was like, "Yeah, she with Anthony."
Petty.
She's with Anthony right now at the movie theater. What are you talking about?
Oh!
No, because he was supposed to be mine.
Kaisha.
I did not get these 4th of July outfits every year for you to end up with him.
I
Like,
was
be
gonna say,
so for real.
that is very important context that you did not add at the beginning of that story.
Oh my God.
Correct.
Wow. All right.
But even still, was it worth her not showing up after I almost died? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I would
Ladies
agree
and
that
gentlemen.
it's not worth it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kaisha Huguley.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been such a fun episode. Such a great time. Kaisha, we got to have you back in the future because
yes.
hysterical. But
I just have to tell you
yeah,
how it is.
tell the people where they can find you on your socials.
Yes. Listen, you can find me at Kaisha Creates on every platform. I am on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Substack, Blue Sky. I guess I'm on X, but not really because Elon done gone crazy. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Give her a follow, guys. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.